Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend, Sanji Bhal, who is the marketing director at ACDLabs. And we're going to be talking about their presence at Analytica Virtual, which is starting next Monday and running from October the 19th to October 23rd. So, Sanji, it's lovely to see you again. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Rizwan. Nice to be talking to you as well.
Yes. And how is the weather in Canada at the moment? I always forget, is it Toronto you're in? I might be wrong, though. So
Yes. Yep, just outside Toronto. And it's actually a really rainy, almost like an England day today.
is
So
it? Well, I have
rainy and
to.
overcast.
Well, it is actually raining out overcast outside my window as I look outside right now.
There
So
we
there
go.
we go. So
See?
it's snap. So it's all good to know we're all sharing in the same misery together at this
There we go.
moment in time.
Lovely.
Right. So, well, look, we're here to talk about Analytica Virtual and your presence there. But before we start talking about Analytica itself and what the wonders people will see at your booth if they attend, perhaps you can tell people a little bit about ACD Labs who are not familiar with it and your role within it.
Sure. So ACDLabs is, we're an informatics provider. So we develop and commercialize scientific software for R&D organizations. Particularly, we specialize in digitalization of analytical, structural, and molecular information that helps scientists to make decisions, to problem solve, and also for product lifecycle control. So we do this on an enterprise scale for large and medium-sized businesses. But we also work with the government agencies and academic institutions all over the world. So we have offices worldwide for sales and support in Germany and the UK. Also in Asia, our head office, as you already mentioned, is in Toronto, Canada.
Fantastic. And your role within the organization?
So I'm the director of marketing and communications. So among other things, I do things like try and help organize getting our clients and customers and our teams out to things like Analytica when conferences are happening in real life and obviously now virtually.
Yeah, and you have actually got a scientific background, I remember you telling me.
I do, yes. So I actually trained as a medicinal chemist and I worked for Cancer Research UK for a few years and I worked for a CRO and various other small companies. And then around, I want to say, I think it was about 15 years ago, I joined ACDLabs and I've been here ever since.
God, you don't look old enough, I have to say so. Anyway,
You're
so,
so kind.
well, moving on. I mean, you're talking about customer support. So let me ask you, since the pandemic, even let me say it probably, the pandemic has impacted so many people, how have ACDLabs sort of dealt with the pandemic in terms, both from an internal perspective, but also in terms of supporting your customers worldwide?
Yeah, so from an internal perspective, as I said, we are a global company. That has also meant for us, though, that a lot of our employees, or a lot of my colleagues, were actually working remotely from home anyway. So a lot of our sales support team and our application scientists, they already work from home because they were visiting customers quite regularly. Development offices were actually working, in an office together, but we were actually we were very lucky in that we were able to move things. We were on Zoom, we were using things like Teams. So it was fairly seamless for us, for the remaining few people who worked in offices, to start working from home. So internally for us, it was actually fairly simple. And then when it comes to supporting our customers, obviously that was important. Our customers actually got extremely busy. That's probably true for every other vendor out there who's exhibiting at Analytica as well. Because a lot of them are the organizations that are helping with, finding vaccines and finding, cure, but things to help deal with COVID in the healthcare space. And so we found that our customer facing staff were talking to scientists about now they were having to work remotely. And so our software, we basically managed to give licenses to customers who were now working from home, who had been used to having it at a desktop in their office, perhaps. So we feel privileged that we were able to help some of our, or a lot of our customers, to move to working remotely from home and continue to be productive and, contribute to their organizations.
Well, I suppose that's one of the advantages of actually being a supplier of software, that you can actually have access to it via the cloud wherever you are. So that is one of the benefits of actually being a software provider.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we had people who we have a lot of automation and things that we help our customers with, importantly to being able to work remotely from instruments anyway. So that's one of the things that differentiates us from many of the other software that is available. Like that, there is obviously software that is attached to instruments, but you need to be at the instrument in order to use it. So one of the things that ACD Spectrus, which is actually the product that we're highlighting, Analytica, one of the things it allows you to do, or it allows scientists to do, is to be able to process and interpret and store analytical data remotely from the instrument. So they can share it. So, colleagues can be looking at the same spectrum and talking about the same information almost in real time.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about Analytica itself then, because it's a nice little segue into that. So why did you decide to attend the virtual? Because I know you were signed up to the live event.
Yes.
So what made you decide to stick with it and go virtual?
Well, Analytica obviously is always a big draw in Europe. We do have a very well-established team in Germany, and so we have a lot of customers in Germany that we enjoy seeing every other year at Analytica. So it was a shame when the April live, or in-person meeting got postponed. And then eventually, when they did turn to go online, we decided that we were going to continue to support it, and we're expecting that a lot of our customers, not only from Germany but around Europe, are going to be able to attend. Obviously, one of the advantages of online meetings is that you don't have to block out your calendar, you don't have to travel anywhere, you don't have to be there in person. So we're hoping that we're still going to be able to meet possibly even more of our customers, and maybe new people too that we can help.
Brilliant. So let's go on to the booth then, and what customers can actually see if they come to your booth at Analytica. So what are you actually showcasing at Analytica this year?
So as I mentioned a little bit previously, we're showcasing our ACD Spectrus platform. So that's actually an informatics environment to help people to manage analytical and chemical knowledge in one place. So you can process, interpret, store analytical data, things like NMR data, LCMS, Raman, optical, TGA, all kinds of, the major analytical techniques that can be managed in a single place. So that is used by labs and scientists, by analytical groups. It's also used to share that data with their internal customers, so medicinal chemistry teams, for example, or process development teams. And then it's also used kind of organization-wide or with partners like CROs and CMOs in order to exchange that data as well. And importantly, the materials that you're going to be able to access from the booth there are some videos about the platform, there's some materials that you can read. There's actually also a presentation that is being delivered a variety of times through the week that participants can register for and learn more.
Right. Okay. Well, we are going to put the links for that particular lecture or webinar. I'm not sure how they're phrasing it above the video, so you'll have the link to go to that. So one question though, obviously you're offering third-party software. So why would someone choose your third-party software rather than use the software which has come with a piece of kit that they've already got? Because I know obviously a lot of the big kit manufacturers, they moved into software in a big way. They're supplying software with everything they do now. So why would they want to use you then instead of what they've already got?
Right. So as you said, analytical instruments come with software because you need software in order to acquire data in the first place. And for the most part, that's not something that ACDLabs software does. We don't help in data acquisition, but we've been partnering with all of these instrument vendors for more than 25 years now. And so what we're able to do that I would like to say no one else really can do is we can take data from all of those different instruments. So all of the different major analytical techniques and also the different instrument vendors.
Right.
And we can take all of that data and homogenize it and standardize it in one single platform. So if you have a lab where you have, a Waters instrument and a SciEx and a Shimadzu and an Agilent, you would usually be processing in each of those different pieces of software, which causes all kinds of problems. So not only is that software usually with the instrument, but also it means that you have to learn to use all those different pieces of software, and they're all a little bit different. And then when you're looking to make decisions, usually when scientists are looking to characterize or identify or verify the structure or a material composition, they need to have more than one piece of data. And that data is then living in different software and different databases and different silos. And so what Spectrus does is enables them to bring it all together into one place so they can really assemble the information easily and make their decisions more quickly.
Fine. And people will be able to see demos of Spectrus then if they come to the booth as well?
Yes, they can. Yeah. And importantly, actually, one of the things that I missed was that what Spectris also offers is context to the data. So quite often, I remember when I used to be in the lab, so I'd grab an NMR spectrum off the instrument, and then I'd sit and scribble on it, to figure out what my structure is and kind of draw lines to say, well, this atom belongs with this set of peaks. Those are also things that you can do in the software. So it's really you're capturing the interpretation. So it's not just data that people are storing, they're actually storing knowledge.
Sounds very nice, actually. Very well put. I wouldn't have thought you worked in marketing saying that. That's excellent. So my final question about the show is that obviously there's a lot of software out there. It's a very crowded marketplace. There's lots of events which are specifically around software, but there's so many companies working in this space. So what makes ACD Labs unique?
What makes us unique? Apart from me and all of the other wonderful people that I work with. So I think one of the things is our real expertise in analytical data. And we're not talking, any particular technique, but kind of across that broad spectrum, is the fact that we actually integrate structure with the analytical data. So we provide the context. So once, when you have a spectrum or perhaps, lots of pieces of data. So a lot of the scientific software that a lot of organizations have right now, the analytical data, once the scientist has looked at it, gets reduced to text and numbers and at best a picture of the spectrum. But if somebody wants to go back because, further down the line, somebody found an impurity and they want to see, well, has this been seen before? They can't actually do very much with the image because, when you zoom into a PDF and it gets fuzzy and you really can't see what was down there. So those things get lost in the noise whereas when you have live analytical data, which is what Spectris supports, you can actually zoom into that spectrum. And if you want to ask, if at a later date, a colleague wants to ask different questions from that same spectrum, from that same experiment, they're able to do that with the context of why was this gathered in the first place? So is it going to be a good place for me to get the answers to the questions that I now have?
Brilliant. Okay, well, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. Well, that's all we've got time for in terms of talking about Analytica. If people want to know more, obviously they can come to the booth, and it's free, people, free to attend. So if you haven't got your free ticket yet, there will be a link to the free, I'll say it again, free tickets that you
Is
can
it free, Rizwan?
It is. FARR. I don't know how to say that in German, French, or other languages. Maybe I should find out and put that in. But it is free, so you can register. It's very, very easy. And actually, the whole process, because I've been to other shows that Lumitos have done, it's a very, very quick process to register. So by all means, register if you haven't done so already. If, however, for whatever reason, you cannot make the ACD booth next week, then how can they find out more information, Sanji?
Right. So they can come to our website, www.acdlabs.com, where there are all kinds of materials, videos, if you like to watch things, webinars. We have quite a library of webinars where you can learn about all of our different products and solutions and workflow areas that they can support. There are also obviously material to read. And obviously, if you do miss us at Analytica or you're unable to come, then you can contact us through the website and we can still discuss how we can help you with your challenges.
Fantastic. And also, because I know this because I sort of post on them as well, they also have a series of webinars running on a regular basis on loads of topics, which you can also register for, which are also free, I must point out. So on that note, I'm just going to say thank you very much, Sanji, for taking the time out to the interview. It was all very short notice, people, so she's done a fantastic job. I'm sure you'll agree. So thank you very much for doing the interview. It was lovely to see you again as well. I hope you all found that useful. Please, as I said, check out their booth next week. There's lots of great stuff on there. Register, as I said, it's free. I'll say it one more time. And if you can't do it, then check out the website. And as always, until next time, Sanji, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching, and stay well and stay safe. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.